Hello, friends. How are you today? I decided today that I was going to do a little Friday reads. I started doing another weekly vlog, and it all kind of just went to poop. so, so instead, we're going to do a Friday reads. Um, I do plan on hopefully vlogging throughout July because it is Jane Austen July. There's also Cozweek at the very beginning of the month, which didn't even realize was going to happen until I, until I had already finished my TBR for the month, and then Courtney put up her video, and I was like, oh no, there's another readathon that I have to participate in. so, so there's that, and then I have four buddy reads, which luckily one of my buddy reads is Jane Austen related. Uh, but so I have a butt ton of reading to do next month. So this month has actually been pretty casual in the reading department. So hopefully I'll be geared up to read next month. So I figured for this video we'll start with the books because that's probably what you're here for. And then I will show you my knitting that I've been doing in case you're interested in that. And then we'll wrap it up. I really don't have much to say. I just figured I would do a video. The first book that I finished this week was The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek by Kim Richardson. And I read this in a buddy read with my friend Danny from Spenelli Speaks. And we took kind of a while to read this, about 3 weeks, which was probably way longer than we honestly needed to because we were listening to the audiobook version of it. And I really enjoyed this book. It was way different than I thought it would be. I didn't really expect it to be as hard-hitting as it was. I did know that it follows a group of people in Kentucky that their skin was turned blue, and this was in the Appalachian Mountains of Kentucky. And there was a certain group of people that their skin was blue because of a blood defect, which at the time they didn't know about. I knew there was going to be some discrimination involved in it because they were considered to be the colored, and the whole segregation thing that was happening with the black people at the time was also happening with the blue people. And I knew that going in, but for some reason I just expected it to be a little bit lighter. And it wasn't, but that ended up being really great. I really enjoyed it. It kept me wanting to know more. Cussy Mary, who is the main protagonist, she was basically a pack horse librarian that brought books to the poorer people of the Appalachian Mountains. And some people discriminated against her, but some people treated her just like everybody else. And it was just really a great way to see the different relationships that she had. And it turned out way different than I thought it would. It had just so many different elements to it that I didn't expect to happen. So I really, really enjoyed it. I ended up, I think, giving it 4 stars. I didn't really have anything bad to say about it, so I really enjoyed it. I probably should have given it 5 stars, but I think maybe the 4 stars was probably more like 4.5 stars. But I think just because it was pretty much all sadness for the most part. So I think that's why I brought it down a star, because there was like very little joy in Cussy Mary's life other than bringing the books to her patrons. So yeah, other than that, it was really fantastic. And the next thing that I finished this week, I actually just finished today, and it was Anne of Ingleside, which is the next book in the uh, Analog 2020 that I am participating in. And I'll leave all that information down below. And this one follows Anne after she and Gilbert are married, and they have a bunch of kids. So, and it just kind of goes through the lives of these kids and their little adventures that they get up to, and some, some that involve Anne and uh, her dealings with the townswomen, and there is a lot about funerals and death in this book, which really struck me, and it also dives a lot into the lives of married women in this generation. Some, good, some bad, obviously, but it really talks about that and how, Anne's marriage to Gilbert is really not the norm in this day and age. It probably wasn't one of my favorite books in the series, but it definitely was cute and, actually did hit on a lot of important topics, just and mostly centered around marriage and death. So, I mean, interesting topics, but definitely important ones. So those are the only two things that I've actually finished this week, which is fine. 2 books in a week is pretty good. um, but I also have just started reading A Long Fatal Love Chase by Louisa May Alcott. And I have been participating as much as I can in the Louisa May 2020 read along that Kate Howe and Meghan have been hosting. And some of the books I have been unable to find at my library or on Scribd, but luckily I was able to find this one in paperback form, and I started it. I'm only about 40 pages in, and the print is like really big. I don't remember it saying it was large print version, but really this was the only copy that I could find, so it doesn't matter. I don't care. So this is actually, though, really intriguing. It gives off a uh, gothic vibe to it. It's definitely not Little Women, or even Rose and Bloom, or Little Men, or any of those more domestic novels. This is definitely more dramatic, I guess I would say, and definitely more gothic, romantic with a capital R. And I'm really enjoying it. I just need to actually settle in and get more pages done. So, but yeah, this is probably in the entire year so far of our Louisa May read along, this might be my second favorite after Little Women. So those are the only books that I've finished this week so far. And so now I'll show you what I have been crafting. So basically, if you follow me on Instagram, you will see that I am now obsessed with knitting. Which I've come to realize that a lot of women my age and younger are into that. I did grow up kind of learning crochet, and I did that for a time, and I tried to learn to knit in college, and I was just not having it. It was too hard. But for some reason this year I just decided to pick it up and ended up really loving it. So I am in the middle of a shawl, which I've shown different times, and I did knit a pair of socks a while back that were okay, but they were first socks. They're not the greatest fit in the world. But recently I finished my next pair, or well, one of a pair of socks, and I am currently working on number 2. Now, if you are an experienced knitter, you will see that I broke up the pattern a little bit there by accident. I still don't really know what I did, but we're going to try to correct it on this one. And you're actually you might notice that these aren't going to match. And I feel like that is something that a lot of knitters try to do, is match their socks. But really, I'm just about using up my yarn. So I decided rather than pulling out a bunch of yarn to get it to work in this pattern, I would just make them mismatched. Who cares? They're going on my feet. Now, if I was going to make these for a gift, that might be different. But I am just making them for me right now. I am going to knit some socks for my friend, but I'm going to have to use different yarn. And then my other big project that I started working on is my first ever cardigan. And it doesn't look like much right now, but this is like, okay, this is like the collar section, so it's gonna go like this. So, I think that's how it's gonna go anyway. I think so. But this is the Harvest cardigan from Tin Can Knits, and it's a free pattern, which I'm all about whenever it's a first time knitting something. I don't want to pay $7 or more for a pattern that I'm going to end up ruining because I don't know what I'm doing. So I got a free pattern on Ravelry, and then I went to Michael's and bought 3 of these giant things of white yarn, but that's just how much I need. So, and as you can see right now, just from this, there is that much yarn taken up. So it's gonna take a lot of yarn, and it's not like I'm making a huge size or anything. So crazy how much yarn it takes. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this, and I just started this the other day, and I'm already pretty far along, honestly. I did have to rip back some stuff once, which is nerve-wracking, especially for somebody that doesn't know really how to do that. I was able to do it, thank goodness, but I had to be talked off a ledge a little bit by my friend Sarah from Steeped in Books, who is like my knitting guru right now. And she's like, you can do it, don't tear it all out, it'll be fine. So I did, and it's fine now. I mean, it's definitely not going to be, some fantastic piece of knitting, but as long as it fits, and if the arms are the same length, and, there's not some kind of weird bump in it or anything, I'll wear it. It's fine. I don't care. So yeah, that's really all I've got for you today. Just a little housekeeping thing. I already talked about Jane Austen July, but I have a Jane Austen July TBR that I just posted yesterday. So if you fancy seeing what I plan to read for that, go check that out. I am going to hopefully be putting up a TBR for Cozweek, which is going to be starting the 1st through the 7th, and that is hosted by Courtney at Courtagonist. Oh, jeez, sorry, something just scared me outside. Okay, I guess my mail's here. That was very forceful. So yes, I plan to have a Cozweek TBR, and then I'm going to plan to vlog for the month. And then also, if you have tagged me in anything over the past 2-3 months and I haven't done it, it's not because I don't want to. It's because I've gotten a filming slump, and I got a little tired of things on YouTube and Instagram for a while, and I just needed a break. So now that things seem like they are going to be getting a little bit back to normal for me, I'm going to try to bust through those. So in July, I'm hoping to get a lot of tags done. And that's the other thing I gotta film this weekend. I need to do the mid-year freakout tag because it's June. This is mid-year, right? So I have only a few days to get that up. So I will try to get that filmed this week as well. All right, friends. That's really all I have for today. This was just casual. Hopefully I'm not going to take up too much of your time. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.